Um, I can't believe it's already almost the end of March. This class at this time will end next week. It'll be our last class. And for those of you in the UK, in the EU, in India, in normal places, unlike crazy here, um, you'll go back to the regular time, except for you, Bonvi. You will stay at 8:30 p.m., which I think is a better time for you. So very quickly, I'm going to review. I'm going to send out an email in the next week to let you know what the spring classes are, which will take us from April to June, the end of June. We're going to have on Saturdays, there is basically almost all year round, there's going to be a acrylic painting course on Saturdays at this same time. So if you want to just jump in and practice your drawing, catch up on things, or try to jump into acrylic painting too, you are welcome to do that. I'm also going to send out a list of all the they also have a series of recordings from their first 3 months of the year. So I will give those to you and you can catch up with them. I want you to think of these classes as very flexible. Even though we don't have this time zone and this demos may be happening at this time until fall, that doesn't mean you can't jump into Lotto's class. That doesn't mean you can't follow any of the other videos in any other class. For Europe and the and so maybe Bonvi, you also might be able to there's going to be a watercolor landscapes class starting, it's going to be Europe after work time on Fridays. Europe and I mean, India, you're always like off the charts. Like it's a different work week for you. But for you, that would start at 9:30 p.m., Bonvi. So if you want to jump in, you can do that. So I would encourage everybody to do that. I would encourage you to use these times to keep popping in as much as you can. If if you work for Reuters or if you are LA Press Club, you get to take any class you want at any time for free. And I know it's been tricky. March is always tricky because the EU and the UK do daylight savings time as a different time as the US, and India doesn't do it at all. So we have this kind of chaos of that at the beginning, and it'll happen again in the fall. There's usually like a 2 or 3 week period where we have to flex the class times for one side, just depending on who you are. So just pay attention on the threads. And all that information will be there available. I promise I'll let you know. Anyway, it's just been such a pleasure working with you guys. It's really fun. So are we ready to work on that damn cup, as Leela says? It's a different cup. All right. So hang on here. I'm going to remind you of this little fact. I want you to go back a little bit. Yes. This little fact about cups. Hold on. I'm going to put down my little pencil here. And I'm going to pop this up. Okay. And I want you to tell me. There we go. Here. Yeah. I want you to tell me where it looks like this pencil is sitting on the top of the cup. Closer to you, farther away. And, where is it? What does it look like? Somebody jump in. Yes.
It looks like it's further away.
Right. It does, doesn't it? Okay. Let's check and see where it is. Was exactly in the middle. Everybody see that? Okay. So welcome to Perspective 101, Understanding the Mindfuck. Which is that although that pencil is absolutely dividing two pieces in half, right? The cup exactly in half. It's not going to look like that on a flat surface. And it's not going to look like that when you're drawing it. So what we're going to practice today is that idea. That means the cup has two sides. It has a back side and a front side. And the side that's moving towards you that's closer to you is going to look bigger. And the side that's away from you has a different shape. So in your mind, you need to tell yourself, I know these are equal size things, but that's a left brain thought, right? And this is why people can't draw. It's right because you have the left brain's like, no way, logically, this is happening. And I'm like, but that doesn't help you when you're trying to translate 3 dimensions to 2, right? How do you create the illusion of 3 dimensions? So, in a very simple way, I'm going to pop this up here. What we're kind of learning here is that things that we expect to happen, get a pencil that doesn't have a, really? Sorry, all of my things are gone this morning. It's been a while since, oh, there we go. Okay, I'm gonna like sharpen this really quickly and then show you. I'm just sharpening my pencil, which seems to have lost its lead. Right. That like, although the cup sits flat, right? Fantastic drawing this morning. Here. We're gonna start that over. Although the cup sits flat, right? On a table. We know logically, quote unquote, that it's sitting flat on the table. That's not what it looks like when we're drawing it, because we're seeing not only the front, but also the sides. See that? So the front part is flat. The sides are doing what pretty much all things do as they move away from us. They kind of angle up, right? And they they kind of rise up, right? We also know that this cup is sitting flat on the ground, but that the sides of the cup appear to be rising. That's a little bit like this guy, right? I know I say this a lot, but I really like to emphasize this point. You may have learned how to do this as a kid, how to draw a road going away from you. The road doesn't really rise up. It's flat on the ground. The road is not smaller here and bigger here. It's just what it looks like. And that's how we have to translate it. And when you're going on a flat surface, one of the things you need to remember is that things moving, the only way we can move, right, is this way and this way. We can't draw in, we can't draw out. So angles will be sharper. And the halfway point, the halves are treated differently depending on whether they're closer together or farther away. Does that kind of basically make sense? I think you're going to like this. I think the first cup I gave you was harder. So this is going to be easier, and the logic of it is going to feel really great for your brain. Your brain's going to love it. So we'll show you. This is about the place. Here, I'll even draw this. This is about the place where the halfway mark is. I can talk to you about why I know that. It's kind of how I can see when things start to angle back, but I'm going to do it for you because it's tricky to see, right? So these halves are equal, but notice that this half is narrower than this, is wider and thicker than this half. So how do we start to kind of figure out where we are with the cup? I like to start like this. And I'll show, I'm going to mark it on here first, and I'm going to show you. Y'all see that? Our top and our bottom. That's not a very visible color. Hot pink, that will be very visible. Hot pink. There is the top and the bottom of the cup. So the first thing we want to do is define the top and the bottom of the cup. And we can do that randomly. We can make any decision we want to about how big or small that is. Because the next measurements we're going to make are going to be proportional. So I don't want to see anybody trying to measure exactly how big this cup is and putting it here. It does not matter. What I'm going to show you is how to flip these. And in fact, I'm going to make it big. Well, let's see. I'm going to make my top here and my bottom here. And I'm going to draw a line straight through. As you can see, this is bigger than that cup. I want you to be able to see it. Right now, let me check something. Yes, indeed, I can fit it. So the first measure I'm doing is this measure. So you can go ahead onto your paper and either vertically or horizontally, it doesn't really matter. You can define how big your cup is. The advantage of working bigger is just that it's easier to see everything and to kind of make some of those twists and turns, like particularly here, are easier to see. And let me know if you have questions. I'm a little speed demon. I go fast. I'm trying so hard to slow myself down, but it's just not in my nature. So I give you the authority to stop me if you don't get something, or if you want me to re-explain something, or if you're like, I don't understand it. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to start on my source, is find the halfway point and the quarter points on this line. I do that not by measuring with a ruler, because numbers can be confusing and hard to transpose. I'm going to do that by measuring space. So because I'm not sure, I'm kind of checking here. We'll see how well I am doing today. I mark where I think the halfway point is. And then I'm going to measure it. I'm putting my pencil at the top here and my finger at the bottom of the pencil. And then I'm going to come here and I'm off. I'm off. Can you see that? This halfway point. So I need to move this down a little bit. And I'm going to check it again. From here. No, I'm more off. Sorry. I need to go up. And I'm trying to really be clear on these, on the mistakes I'm making, because just depending on the morning, just depending on the day, depending on what you've been through before, what time of day it is for you, it's different for all of us. You may be better at this or worse than this. It kind of flips around. So don't be so hard on yourself. This looks a little bit better. Yes, here's my new proposed beginning. Yeah, this looks like halfway. I noticed I did two others that I erased that weren't correct, but I'm going to mark this as my halfway. And then the second thing, I'm not going to this line. I'm going all the way to the top of the cup, by the way, from the pink line to the pink line. And then I'm going to split these halves in half to create quarter points. And I'm going to do that exactly the same way. So let me guess. I'm going to think about here. And we'll see. That's actually about right. Can you see that? So let me see if I can do this. I'm going to put this down so you can really see this. So first I'm checking, here's my little measuring point, my test measuring point. I don't know if it's right yet. I'm checking here. I'm checking here. Right? And where my thumb is where this point is. And then I'm just going to bring it down. Nope. Still not right. All right. I'm going to bring this down just a little bit. I'm going to erase this point and see if I get it better this time. Obviously, today is one of those days where I'm not as on as I normally am. And that is correct. Yeah, right about there. Once I get this point, of course, it's easy to get the third point. I just come down here because they're equal size. And then I'm going to triple check and make sure I've got my points correct. So if you've already leapt ahead, what you're doing is that same thing on here. Now, these measurements number-wise won't be the same. That's why we avoid numbers, but proportionally, they will be the same. A halfway point proportionally is the same here as it is here. So I'm going to do that again here. Checking. You can see I'm sometimes using my finger. It's not as accurate as this, because your finger, I like using the pencil. Yep, that's about halfway. And then I'm going to see if I can find this point. 2. Yep. 2, 3, 4. Down a distant touch. There we are. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I have are 4 equal quarters. So that's what I want to see at a start. Don't worry about this line yet. We're not there yet. I put it in to show you halfway points, but that's actually something we'll draw later. But these are this is the first thing we're going to do. So we randomly, you can decide any size you want. And then as long as you've got the proportions right, you're in place. This is really what we call visual spatial measuring. I have many fights with people about this. Many fights. I have students that argue with me and they're 99.9% wrong. They try to use calipers, they try to use measurers, and usually what happens is they get confused between what's happening here and what's happening here. And what I'm doing is training your eye to start noticing visual distances, right? How far is this about? What does halfway look like on a piece of paper? So that's the intellectual skill that we are practicing today. And it is massively logical and amazing. Once you really understand it, it helps you in every possible way. Anybody have questions about that? All right, then send it over when you've got it done and I'll take a look. This is
Guys, is it me or is it is it me who's frozen?
No, I think we lost Leah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought maybe it was me for a sec. Oh, she's probably realized.
Sorry about that, you guys. Sometimes it just blips. Somehow I have, here, let's see, stakeholders. Sometimes it blips and I don't really, and then I have to restart everything to make that happen. However, you had an assignment, so I'm sure everybody was just working on it. And Christina and Anik and Leah, although you've had this lesson, you may have noticed that I'm kind of tweaking it because I'm noticing what people didn't understand before. So maybe it's helpful to repeat it because I think I'm explaining things. When I teach, everybody has had this lesson because I think it's a really profound and wonderful lesson. I have noticed that like things I kind of take for granted, having done this a while, are not necessarily intuitive to everyone. So you get the benefit of having this lesson last because I've now taught it 4 times this quarter. And I now know, I think, what the questions are. All right, let's take a look here. Don't, Leela, don't draw this. Don't draw this yet. Please erase that because you don't have it in the right place and it's not the time for that. Don't also erase your bottom lines. These are not, that they aren't in the right places. I'm going to show you what happened. And that's why I'm kind of anal about, let's get things actually correct before we start putting in things like this. Let's see, Anik, 1, 2, 3, looks great. Christina, let's see. Sorry, I'm going down and then up. 1, 2, 3. Christina, something looks wonky about your one on the bottom. This one here, it looks a little bit too long. So I think double check it, but I think this might not be equal quarters. You may have to adjust a little bit this one, which means everything will have to be adjusted.
Okay.
I know that seems like a dumb, thank you, Anik, great. I know that seems, let's see, Bombi. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bombi, you have the same problem. Oh, I see. Get rid of this line, Bombi. That's the confusion. Get rid of it. This horizontal line, please erase it. You're not there yet. The top is, you're going from here to here. Can you see how this confuses things? You're not ready to put that in. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to say that mostly looks okay, but Bombi, I'm also going to tell you that your bottom, maybe mine is too. No, it's okay. Your bottom line doesn't seem exactly 1/4. It seems a little bit bigger. Remember, you're measuring from here to here, not here to here. So please erase that line. Leela, please erase this and this. We'll get there, I promise, but we're not there yet. And I know you want to jump ahead, but you don't know enough yet. It sucks, doesn't it? It's like, God damn it, I think I should know this. But we do not know this. Anyway, it's okay. We don't know it. The logic is a very different logic system. Once you get it, you're going to really appreciate how practical it is. But we're not there yet. Because the key thing we've got to do now, and this is the next line we're really practicing, is kind of how wide this cup is. And to get that dimension, so you can't draw this until you know how wide the entire cup is. So what I've done here, and I'm going to put this up close just to show you, what I've done here is I've at the halfway point, the exact halfway point, because I can find that line and I know it's correct. I have marked the distance from this side of the cup to this side of the cup. And now how do I check the distance and see how far it is? Well, I'm going to measure it. I'm going to capture this distance, same way I did this one. And then I'm going to compare it to my vertical distance. See that? I'm comparing it. Can you see why you can't draw this until you know this? And you probably made this too big. Very common. You can't go there until we get the outer bounds of the cup. And so what I can see, what do you notice? What's the relationship here between the width and the height? What's the relationship? Somebody tell me, what's
It's
the relationship?
equal. It's equal.
Almost. Yeah, pretty much equal, right? That's helpful information, isn't it? It helps you know when to start and stop this stuff. It's incredibly practical. So I'm going to come over here. And there's another thing too. Let's check kind of how far this line goes on this side versus this side. I can measure this and I can see how far, what is the relationship between this distance and the vertical distance? This distance here, I'll capture it again, that distance and the vertical distance. What's the relationship? What's that?
Is that also the same?
They're not, they're almost the same. They're actually a tiny bit, this is actually a tiny bit longer because you see it comes up to here. And I tell you that because this distance makes a huge difference in a drawing. It takes up a lot of real estate in a drawing. It takes up a lot of real estate on the page. Seems like it's not. Everybody see that? Here to here. So that's a pretty easy thing to guess. I can come over here, mark something about there, which is about the same as here. And then I can come over here, get that measurement, line it up with my right distance. And there you go. I have my starting point. That's how I start my line. And then because I know that this line goes all the way to here and it's about the same distance as this, I can now measure this to here. I'm going to double check that. Checking that again from here to here. Yep. So I know, do you see how much thought you need to put into this? Do you understand that? Do you understand that guessing this, you're not going to get it right? Not until you've done this for many years, and then you'll have a better sense of how much space this is and this is. I still use this, some variation on this to help me. So you, all of you in beginning drawing, assume you have no idea where things start and end, and you need a form of reference to measure it. Okay? If you assume you have no idea and you don't try to guess, it's going to go better for you. And we have this set of measurements that can help us kind of measure those things. So go ahead and send me this. People really resist this. They fucking hate it at first because everybody wants to dive in and start drawing this shit so you can have something that looks like a cup. But if you don't have these things in, I probably shouldn't have put this in because it's confusing. You think you should put it in because I put it in. But I wanted you to see kind of where it is. So I take a little credit for that confusion. But yeah, this is like, these measurements, they're key. If you can't get this stuff, you don't have things right. And what I love about this is it takes the guesswork out. I know where things are now. I know where things stand. I know I can use these marks and this mark and this to help me measure any distance on here. It's really great. It's not numbers, right? Because numbers are confusing. It's an assessment of a visual space. The challenge for you may be that because this space is not literally the same size as this space, you might struggle to see how this sizes up. That's why I like to have these guys here. Let's see, Bonvie. One. No, Bonvie. It does not look right. I think you need to bring this bottom one up a little bit. You'll see. Try measuring all four of these. They should be the same distance. They are not. All right, let's see. One. Yep. Nope. You don't have it. Bonvie, you're going to need to erase this line and start again because these aren't correct. Double check them. Each one should be the same distance. They are not the same distance. Even your halfway point is not at halfway. That's the problem. Your halfway point is below halfway, so please erase this line, double check these and try again. It's tedious, but you're gonna love it. Leaves no guesswork. All right, Anik, let's see. Good.
I had to move the
Yes, I
vertical
see.
one.
Right, I see it. Excellent, excellent. So yeah, you can see here. Can I show that to people just so they don't
Yes,
like,
yes, of
well,
course.
this is so, and you've taken this is the third time you've taken this, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
And there's still a rookie mistake. I've put the line in the middle of the paper, so I'm just saying.
Right, so you have no room on the side. Yes, right,
Yes,
a mistake.
exactly.
It's okay, I didn't tell you that, actually. So
Mhm.
that's a shift that you need to make on your own. And it's easy to,
Mhm.
and that's why I'm pointing this out. It's easy. So take a look, guys. If you can see here, she put her line in the middle, and that means she didn't have room for this. And the beauty of this system is you solve these problems early, right?
Mhm.
This is an easy problem to fix. You just erase the line and you move it over. It's a lot harder if you're 3/4 of the way through the cup and you already realize you don't
Mhm.
have enough room. So it's good. Yeah, there are, I like to think of drawing in this way as like putting together IKEA furniture. If you
Mhm.
miss one step, you are done, right? If you miss
Yeah.
I put the screw this way instead of this way, you can't, you get lost. So it's really a step-by-step process. And just like reading or writing, it is not an intuitive process until you've gone through it a few times. It's not intuitive. You have to train yourself into it. I don't expect anybody to have trained themselves into this. I did not. Nobody I know did. Everybody I know had to teach themselves to draw in some way, learning this system. So it's okay not to do it right. After 25 years, I'm not bad, but I'm still like off a lot of the times. As you can see by my erase marks, I was off 3 times this morning. So this is the, and we want to skip through it because it's sort of boring, but it keeps the drawing in what we call the awkward phase for longer than our left brain likes. Our left brain kind of wants to grasp onto an image and understand what it is, and it needs more information than this. So the left brain is kind of like a horse champing at the bit, trying to get back. It wants to like start getting these things in so it can look like a cup. But if you don't know where to put things, you're not gonna win. That's going to be a losing proposition for you. And if you've noticed that, so even though this is tedious, it's the way. Let's see. A rookie mistake. That's so funny. Let's see, Christina, this doesn't look right to me, but I'm going to check it. Okay, well, maybe it's right. No, it is not right. This is way too narrow. If you look at this line and you compare, I'm going to pop this up. So this is Christina hasn't had enough coffee and also doesn't have enough room on her page to go as far as she needs to. Notice what she did. Her left brain just here, hold on, I'm going to pop this up so you can see this. Her left brain just shortened this. I'm really showing you how your left brain is not your friend. Your left brain is trying to shortcut things to get to the good stuff. But if you notice here, this line only comes up to here. This line needs to be as wide as here. Got that? So Christina, you might have to move this over a little bit, which means everything has to move over. I would erase this line. I'd move this over a little bit to the right, and then I'd start again. This is why, and this is where I am hardcore. Let's see. Okay. Bobby, do you have room? I think this looks right. Yes, that looks great. Do you have room on the side? Yeah, great. Okay, great. You're doing horizontal. That's perfect. Yep, you got it, honey. You got it. Great work. Excellent correction. I am way more interested in corrections than I am in a student getting this right on the first go. I love it if you can, but I love even more a good correction. because I spend a lot of my day as a professional artist doing that, getting things down and then checking them and being like, oh yeah, that's not here, it's here. That's not here, it's here. That's not here, it's here. That's a constant thing. So I prefer a good correction. Don't let yourself get caught up too much. Don't get married to your lines. You may have to change them.
Mm.
It's so funny, isn't it? Here, hold on. Let me pop this up. There we are. Okay. When you think you've got it right, there's a couple more key measurements we're going to make when we get these correct. So when you think you have these correct, send them over and then we'll move forward into more exciting things. Everything becomes a game of the visual spatial intellectual system is that everything is related to everything else. So if you're not looking at where everything is in relation to everything else, you're not going to get them in the right places. The left brain's like, now I'm drawing the cup, now I'm drawing the handle, thinks of these as separate things. But really, it's not a separate thing. Then where is this in relation to your quarter and your halfway points? Where is this in relation to this? All of these things you have to be paying attention to. And as you train yourself up for that, it's exhausting, but as you train yourself up for it, it really is, it's a beautiful system. There's no room for failure, really. I mean, there's room for failure because we're constantly making errors and correcting, but it means that you can troubleshoot your errors much quicker, more cleanly, and then figure out where you need to fix the drawing. Let's see here. Everybody. There you No, Christina. Wait. Hold on. No, Christina, it's still not high enough. Please check the measurements. This needs to be as wide as this. See that? Check your measurements. You'll see they're not. And also you've now moved this over here. So what you did is you moved this line, but you didn't change this line. That's what you did. So you need to, and this line starts with this measurement on this side, and then it goes to this distance. So you've lost this measurement on this side, and then you didn't change that one. I know, you're just waking up. It's fine. You're allowed. I'm up at 5, like pretty much every day. 3, really, since the new administration kicked in. I can't sleep. So, I mean, I sleep, but I fall asleep at like 7 or 8 at night and wake up, anxious. So I've been up for a while, but I recognize this is not the best time for everyone. 8 a.m. if you're on my time zone is not fantastic.
I guess I'm kind of confused about the right side of the cup.
Yes. So I want you to watch me. I want you to erase your line in the middle and watch me again. Okay. This side of the cup, we start by figuring out how far to put this on this line. So I'm checking to see what the distance is from here to here. And when I do that, I see that it's a little bit higher than my quarter point.
Oh,
See that?
yeah.
Then I come here, I measure that, right? So I come here, I guess that I kind of place that in the same place. I come here, and then I know my starting point, right? Then I can do this and check the whole distance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Let us see. That looks good. I'm going to say, Bombi, that looks good. I like your little X there. Perfect. Perfect. Number 2. Let's see if number 3 is perfect too. No. This one's too long. Can you double check this? This distance is correct from here to here. So I think something happened when you were transposing. So remember, once you find this distance, which is correct, you're going to line up your pencil here to get the full distance of the cup from top to bottom. You're going to start that line here and the end is here. So it's a little too long. Yep. Maybe I'm wrong. Hold on, I'm checking it again. I might be wrong here. Hold on. Sometimes it's hard to see. I'm going to double check that. Let me double check that. Before I tell you it's off, I'm going to double check it. I'm wrong. Right. You're right. You're right. I'm wrong. Sorry about that. You got it. Perfect. Perfect. A+, student. B-, teacher.
When I sent you the picture, it looked like it was a lot.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. You got it. I think I was kind of trying to measure it on the screen rather than pulling it up big, and I missed the, yeah, that's totally fine. My measuring is off a little bit this morning, I can tell. So let's see. That looks better, Christina. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice. Step 1, A+. Step 2, A+. The big question is, no, it's, wait. No, almost. This is a little bit longer. Double check. Wait, I'm going to check it again just to make sure I'm right. Yes. This distance that you have here only comes up to about here. It needs to come all the way to the top. It's right on this side, but it's too short on this side. I know it's hard to measure. Have I looked at everybody's? Have I double checked everybody's? Okay, Leela, send yours over. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect on the vertical distance. Let's see. Here, I'm gonna call this up a little bit bigger so I can see it. Let me go up a little bit. Let's see. I like your correction on the right side. Excellent. Good job, Leela. Love it. I like that I can still see your initial marks. Perfect. You're perfect. Do you see how much better that? You're going to see how much better this is. All right, so let's jump forward. The next thing we're going to check is kind of where the handle we're going to kind of leave for last. I have a special technique for the handle. So I want you to think more about kind of this line and this line. Oops. Right. And these lines. I kind of sharpened the angles between so you can see them. And that of course means we need to find here and here and here. So if you, Leela, if you'll notice, I'm gonna erase this. When you put your cup here, you put this way too far down, closer to here. In reality, the bottom of the lip of the cup, which is here, comes to about here. Maybe a little higher, touch higher. And even though we know these are equal halves, notice the difference between this. If I'm going to measure this to this and this to this, these are equal distances. I'm going to have, well, let's see. No, that's not. That's not helpful. Let me think of the easiest way to measure this. Maybe it's this way. Here. Yeah, actually. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here, but I'm trying to see how I can figure out the distance between here and here. I'm checking. Let me do this in a different way, with a different tool, so you can see better. I'm checking the distance between here and here, and then here and here. And if you notice, this is halfway between here and here. So if I'm going to start by guessing that, yes, this is the bottom. Here, I'm going to make this a star so you don't get it confused with your quarter point. All right, this is your star. I'm guessing, oh no, that's too high. You can already see it. It's about here. That's too much in the middle. It's probably somewhere in between these two. So from here to here, or from here to here, these distances from here, it's not right either. Come down a little bit. I think this needs to come up. I'm letting you see the entire thought process as I'm doing it. That's better. I know that this isn't halfway. So I'm trying to get away these extra marks here. And I know that this distance from here to here is about the same as this distance from here to here. Basically, this is halfway between here and here. So that, which is the top, which is about this far down from here. I know that's a lot of words that may or may not seem like they make sense. I want you to make an attempt at it, and then I'm going to check it for you. I'm not going to leave you on your own on that one. So we're finding the top and the middle of the mouth of the, the bottom and the middle of the top of the cup. It's a lot of visual judging. I think I got it right. So we're really finding where this line is, where this line kind of bisects, and we're finding where this line bisects on this vertical. Let's see. Let's see if that looks great, Leela. Good job. Nice job. Looks good. I noticed, Leela, once you kind of get in the swing of the measurements, your visual eye is pretty good. You can generally tend to sense things. Do you know what I mean? You know where things go. I notice when you start to have this structure in place, you have a pretty good natural eye for that. Not everybody does. I didn't really. Christina, good. That looks good. Wait, 1, 2, 1. Yep, everything looks great here. Looks good. Looks great. Good job, you guys. Now, this is kind of a tricky measurement. As you can see, I went over that. So I'm impressed. Nice eye, nice visual eye. Notice that it's much easier when you have quarter points and halfway points to kind of see where things are. If you didn't have these, you would be you'd be having a much more difficult time. And that's why these halfway points and quarter points, which are easy to find, are so critical to this job that we're trying to do here. Nice. All right, we're there. We're there. Okay. Now we need to find this distance and that distance. Let's check. I want to check two things. I want to see how big it is on either side. And they're equal. Do you see that? They're here. Hold on. I'll put this here so you can see it. They're kind of equal distant. That's one thing to know, right? On either side of the line. And then if I compare this to here, just to be really annoying, we could check this on another part of the line. We could check like this half. Ah, it's the same as this. Can you see that? This is the same as this, which is also this. Isn't that a beautiful symmetry? I fucking love that.
Wait, please do
This-
that again.
This distance from here to the top line, right? From here to here is the same as this distance, which is from here to here.
So it's a quarter of the cup.
No,
It's equivalent to those first quarters that we did.
it's equivalent to this side.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh.
So it's a little bit here. It's the same, basically the same distance as this. Yep. From here to here. Same distance as this. It's that little bit more than a quarter. And because it's the same on this side as it is on this side, I can just reduplicate that distance and bring it over here, right? So here to here. I used to really resent artists that couldn't tell me this, teachers, until I tried to do it myself. And it's so hard to put words on it. And if most artists who are not in Word at all struggle to explain this.
Leah,
So
are you
yes.
saying that even though the cup is not straight,
yes,
it is the top and the middle of it are on the same straight line?
yes,
That's not
because-
possible.
Yes,
That's
it
not
is.
possible.
Yes,
No,
it
it's
is,
not.
because-
It's not possible.
Stop. You're missing a key factor here. You haven't looked enough. This comes out a little bit. This comes out a little bit and down. So it extends a little bit out to the right past about 1 millimeter.
Yeah,
Got it?
but
I want you to let that, I mean, I can explain it to you, but I think it's going to confuse you. Yes.
it's not a straight line. This down here is not a straight line.
This line extends out a tiny bit here at the
Yes.
top, and it
Yes.
goes straight and it goes to the bottom, but it doesn't angle as much as you think it does.
Okay.
How's
Okay.
that? Does that
But
feel
it does
better?
it does angle. But it does angle.
angle. Good
Okay.
eye. Good
Okay.
eye.
It
Yes,
does angle.
It does
Cool.
angle, but it's teeny. It's like this. It angles out to about here.
Okay.
See that? So
That's
there's
fine.
like a
I'm happy
little
with that
dot.
answer.
Does
I'm
that
happy with that. I'm happy with that
Okay.
answer. Yes. My husband is calling me
This
a
is the
brat.
part, and to be totally fair with you, this is not really a well, I guess it is a beginner lesson, but these are really hard things to see. I want to tell you, you can't see them, right? And our tendency is to kind of exaggerate
Mm,
the
Mm.
right curves,
Definitely.
angles, lines. And the other thing that's fascinating is it makes a big difference, this distance from here to here, which is like 1.5 millimeters. It's
Mhm.
insane. It's absolutely insane. We can also, if we really want to be anal about it, I've never done this before in this class, but since you're bringing it up, I kind of like it. We could measure the distance from here to here. Just to see.
my husband
Look,
is
it's a
calling
little bit-
me a brat because I'm arguing with you.
No, you're doing great. Did I not give you the invitation to argument? Not a brat at all. These are great questions because they're details that trip us up. So if we really want to make this connect the dots, right? We know the distance from here to here. We've measured it already. Now we know the distance from here to here because if you want me to do it, I can draw a little line, right? Straight down. This is straight up and down. And then there's this little teeny tiny sliver that comes on the outside. If we really want to be specifically measuring on this one, we would also check the distance between here and here. And we would also find out where this is. So we kind of guess, I think that this is about here. Right? I don't. This is about here. And then I'm going to go far. I'm going to go out to about, yeah, here. This distance. Right. So this distance kind of matches this distance. So first I kind of measure, I evaluate where I think this sits on the quarter. I'm going to make the quarters pink so they're very clearly distinct from anything else. Does that help? Right? The quarters are pink. This distance from here to here is a little bit lower than the quarter point. So I could mark that here, get that here, and then put that here. And then I would literally, I'll put my little point here. And I literally draw. I have a, what do you call it? Connect the dots from here to here. So excellent. You know, I was always wondering how to handle that because it's such a minute thing, Leela. So I'm really glad you argued with me on that one because you're right. It needs to be addressed. So this point kind of comes out to about here. Here's my end point, and this comes out to here, which means it's a little bit slanted, and then this goes to here, which is up here. And then I can see where to curve my bottom. Got it? I know that's a lot. So try it, and then I'll help you. That's what I'm going to say. There's a point where if we put too many words on it, it'll be awful. But I love that. Thank you. That's fantastic. Because yeah, now the cup comes out here. And then I was always wondering how to show the difference between the part of the cup that's closest to us, because it's such a hard thing to see, and the part that's farther away from us. This kind of bends outward. And comes in like that. And we can kind of nuance these lines, right? Once we get them, we can kind of round them a little bit. We can change them a little bit, soften them. But there is a little kick out that happens. It's like here, here, and then I'll show you on this side. It's like here and here. Here, here, and here. It's so interesting. And then the back has a totally different, well, we're not going to go there yet. We're going to try and get this side. And if you want me to, I can also, you don't need to draw this in, but I'm just drawing this in to show you that from here to here, these guys kind of line up. Bravo. I think you just made this the best lesson I've ever taught on this. Well done. A+, students. A+. Oh. Let's see. Okay, looks good. Leela, let's see. I'm gonna look at Leela's first. Nice. I think this is a little, well, no, hold on. I'm gonna pump yours up a little bit, Leela, so I can measure it more accurately. From here to here. Dang it, here, hold on. I have to stand over it. It's hard to get this measurement. So here's your quarter point. Yeah. From here. Yeah, that's perfect, honey. You got it. You got it. It looks great. Now, if you want, I feel like, I want to say, this feels like it's a little short to me. Like it comes in a little too much this way. Can you eke it just like, I feel like your dot's about here. Can you eke it just a little bit over here to the right? And redraw that. This angle feels a little steep. Otherwise looks great. Otherwise looks perfect. I mean, if we're going to be perfect, let's be perfect. Love it. Let's see. Okay, Christina. Yeah, good, Christina. Good. Christina, I would bring this dot. Your dot is like about here. I would bring this dot up, which means this line comes over a little bit higher.
Okay.
Just up a little bit, but good. The basic idea you're getting. The basic idea you're getting. Yeah. So there's an angle, but it's not as like steeper, dramatic. We see it. So notice this is a great like left brain to right brain juxtaposition. The left brain sees that angle and is like, there is an angle. And so they want to draw the angle like that. That's what the left brain wants to do. But when we're measuring, it's like millimeter out, millimeter in from the center. See that? It's so teeny, but it makes a difference. It really showcases as when I use the term real estate on paper, what I'm meaning is this is an important piece of real estate, right? What the space it takes up, but it's so tiny. Like tiny bit of real estate, as opposed to, and a critical piece of real estate. If you were going to draw a line kind of straight down from here, you wouldn't want this to be more than like maybe 1 or 2 millimeters to the left of the center. I wonder if it's the same. Yep, same on the right too. So once you've found that, you can find the right. Right? Then we have to erase all these things. That's there. Because we want us to look like a smooth cup, right? I'm once again showing you kind of how the angles really look. I'm curious to see. So this must be the same too. Yep. So this is the same as this. Nice. So we can kind of sketch there. And then this comes up to here. Yeah. Wow. We just took this lesson to the next level of explication. I love it. Then, of course, it's much easier to add in these things. I'm adding them in the kind of terms and an angled way that's a little bit more dramatic than what's actually happening. We can soften these because the back has a totally different way than the front. The back is like this. It's like 2 angled lines that go in and then a straight line across the back. Notice the straight line across the back. If you guys remember what we were learning about vanishing points, do you remember how the road goes to a single vanishing point? That's what's happening with the sides of this cup too. It's going to a single vanishing point. Isn't that wild? You don't have to draw that part in. I'm just showing it to you. And then here, right here, I'm sketching that in and then I'm kind of softening it. Softening it. That looks pretty good. I can also round it just a touch towards the top if I want to. I can soften and round it towards the bottom. Right. So try and get this to here. If you get lost on anything, tell me. I'll redo it. All right, let's see. There. Anik. Nice, Anik. Nice, 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 nice. That looks great. Nice. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's helpful, isn't it? Bobby, let's see. That's looking pretty good, my friend. Yeah. Yeah, Bobby, I would say bring this up a teeny bit. Can you see this here? Looks like yours is about here. Bring it up 1 or 2 millimeters and place that, because this is a little bit steeper. This,
See what point you're at.
what's that?
I can't see what point you're talking about.
I'm showing you on my, here, hold on, let me get there. Hold on. Can you see? Oh, I'm sorry, because I pushed this up too high. How's this? You are about here. Right? This is you. And here's where this point needs to be.
Okay.
So scoot it up, and then
high.
you can see this makes your curve, right? The turn a little bit steeper, which it needs to be. All right. Leela, that looks great. Get the front, and you're in good shape. You're in really good shape. You're gonna love how I show you how to handle this. How to handle the handle of the cup, which is always such a pain. You're gonna love it. And I know you guys, I kind of left you just to try and guess on the last lesson, which is why I'm like, I swear you'll love this.
I needed to just satisfy my other brain. The other
Yeah,
part of my brain. I just had to satisfy it.
I love it.
It needed to come out, needed to express itself, Leah.
It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. It's a perfect left-right cup. Oh my God. Leela, I love the way you think. I really love it. Your brain is marvelous. It is a wonderful, wonderful thing. It's funny when you read about like drawing development, right? From kids that happens in kids, and usually it's connected to handwriting because that's the same thing that we're learning to do right now, right? When you're learning to write letters, it's very similar to what we're doing right now, except less complicated, less like kind of, but still they need to figure out proportions and where to put things and all of that. And that is that kids do something called symbolic drawing that they do kind of a pace with as they start to develop with what do you call it? Realistic drawing, right? So basically, as kids start to like learn to draw, they see things very symbolically. So the circle of the face, here, I'm going to push this up here, is thought of like this, right? We know the circle of the face is actually kind of more like an egg. It's a different kind of circle, but kids don't really distinguish that when they're 3, 4, 5. But they can start to learn to do this, but they do it in sort of tandem with what we call symbolic drawing, which is here, right? This is a symbolic head. And this is a realistic head. They're both circles though. So at certain stages of development, and Leela, this is where it's coming in, like the drawing instructors make very clear that the children should be able to switch back and forth, that they will do both things and you should let them do both things, right? That you should let them do the same. And that's why we talk about the stick drawing, right? The little stick guy. Because that's also an important part of translating this skill to this skill. You have to kind of get this before you can get this. And they exist kind of side by side. And I'll send it to you if you want. There is a great passage in this book. I think I sent it to Ani to work with your son, right? Who we've basically watched grow up in this class. He was 2 when you started, and now he's 8.
Yes.
Yes. So this book, Drawing with Children, has this amazing passage where it tells you what does the kid do between 0 and 2, 2 and 3, 4 and 5, 5 and 8, right? What really ends up happening is at about the age of, for all of us, is at about the age of 8, we stop being taught. We're not taught how to do this. So we get stuck in this and we can't really we have to be taught to push beyond, you know, to push beyond this. And that's the frustration. So everybody, the theory of this book is that most adults are at the age of 8 in learning to draw, and most adults want to learn to draw, and they also want to show their kids to draw. So these are amazing set of lessons. Look, this is a 5-year-old where you walk your kids through the process of drawing. The steps are very clear. Here, hold on. The steps are like, here's how you draw a lion. Step, 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 right? So you do it with the kid. It's so profound. It just goes on, right? And the profoundness of this is that the adult, as an adult, we have so much judgment of ourselves about where we should be. And we're angry at ourselves and we're upset that we don't get it right the first time and all this stuff. Kids experience that frustration in a very like fleeting way. They live in that world all the time, particularly when they're your kid's age, Anik, and younger,
Yeah.
because they're
Mhm.
learning everything. So they're constantly hitting the wall and then moving beyond the wall, right? So they're used to it. So kids are a lot less stressed out about getting things absolutely right. Or if they are, when
I
you're
have the
lesson,
example that ours is
right?
yeah.
Right. So you learn by watching how your kid reacts and modeling for your kid how not to stress out. Even though you're stressing out, you talk yourself down from stressing yourself out, and then you teach your kid not to stress out. My best friend, who's in Kenya, so she's in Oxford now, but for a long time she grew up in Kenya. She lives in Kenya. She's from Kenya. And her daughter and I started lessons when her daughter was 6. And her daughter is, I mean, they're so brilliant. They're the smartest people I've ever met. And so her daughter, like her mother, was very intellectually, meaning reading, comprehending, making like logical leaps, right? From a left brain perspective, was way far ahead of everyone else. But when it came to this, she was exactly where every 6-year-old is. And so we would have these lessons. And we weren't friends yet. I mean, I was just hired by her to do these lessons for her daughter. And at the end of every lesson, her daughter would break down into hysterical tears and cry. And JC would come on and hug her and say, all right, we'll see you. And I'm like traumatized, right? Like, I'm like, oh my God, I made her cry. Oh my God, I'm the worst teacher ever. And JC would say, it's okay, it's okay. We'll see you next week, same time. And it happened 6 times. And then she stopped stressing out. And now she's 18 and doing just great and amazing. And she doesn't even remember that. I mean, I remember it like it was yesterday, but she doesn't remember that, right? Because like as a teacher, if you're making somebody cry, you feel very upset by that. But that's just a process. That's like the process. So we learn when we do drawing with our kids. We feel the same things they do, but we have a little bit more control over our initial emotions. And so the kids help us as we learn to draw together. We help the kids help us by modeling. And the kids, not everyone is as stressed out. I think the really smart kids get the most stressed out because they're really used to being good at this other thing. And then they can't believe that like this manual dexterity, they have to practice like everybody else. It's very hard. Anik, I bet I think you've talked to me about this. This is an issue for
I
your
have
son, right? It's
Exactly.
very common. It's very, very common with smart kids that they struggle with this more because smart kids don't like to be bad at very early on, get a lot of feedback for intellectual, leaps.
Yeah.
And so it's hard for them to understand this is an entirely different skill set. We are working.
Perfectionism also. It's perfectionism basically that also plays a big role in that.
Yeah. So Leela, you can see why I love your brain because everything you do plugs in so deeply to these issues that we have and we struggle with. And they're in us as we age. They're with everyone. I just love it. The left brain. I had to draw a left brain cup. It does. It makes you feel better. You're doing the primitive, right? We're doing this along with the other. Let me double check and see where we are. Sorry, that was a long soliloquy. let's see. Okay, Anik looks pretty great. Believe it or not, Anik, this is a narrower, this is a more,
Yeah, I have to make the
Yeah.
correction there. Yeah.
yeah, correct that. Everything else looks great. I mean, you might correct a tiny bit along the way, but
Mhm.
everything looks in basically the right places.
Thank you.
Um,
And believe me or not, but I did again and again a rookie mistake, and being tired also plays a role because
it's,
moved,
I mean,
moved
I've made about
everything
20.
to low.
I've made about 20. Bonvi,
Mhm.
this looks a little, you haven't come out far enough
Yeah.
on this side or this side. Can you see that? I mean, it's cute. It has kind of a cute, slightly wonky look, right? Like slightly like, wow, a skew look that I like. But this needs to come out wider. Remember, this is kind of lining up with this, which is lining up with this. So it's and also this line is more straight. I don't know if you noticed this, but this cup isn't exactly straight. So this line is slightly more angled than this line. I'm not going to get fussy about it, but this is an almost straight up and down line on this
And
side.
the right one is a little.
Slightly more angled. Yeah. But you're in good shape. These look great. And I love your top of your cup. It's very beautiful. Let's see. Leela, perfect. Perfect. Let me talk about the handle, and then I want to let you guys go on this one. We're going to talk about I'm going to do one more printout to show the lights, mediums, and darks, but I want to talk about the handle for a second, because if you notice, we're going to really identify these points, and these points to start our handle. And I think we can do it pretty much, actually. If I come over here and I just go up a little tick like this is the top of my handle, and the bottom of my handle is almost, it's just like here. So I start by, maybe it's up a little higher. God, my eye is off this morning. Some days my eye is really on, and I can totally see everything, and I can beat the calipers. I like to say I can beat the caliper test. I have a student who uses calipers, and I'm like, I can beat your caliper every time. But not this morning. So it's not this morning. So this is here and here, right? And then here is, once again, just slightly above the quarter point. So if I go to the quarter point and then come up a little bit, that's here. Do you see? That's really, and then this is down here, almost to here. Almost to this point where the cup turns to the back, to this side. So this is really amazing, because once you figure this out, we're going to use something called negative space. I'm going to mark this. Yeah. We're going to start by drawing this shape, the inside shape. And I know where that inside shape starts. It starts about here, right? It's my pink. My inside shape starts about here. It starts about here. So I can start it here. And I can also see that it kind of kicks out here in a straight line. It goes up. It curves, but I'm going to make these straight lines. See that? See how I did that? I know it's curved. I'm going to fix that later. And then it ends here. Right? So bottom of here. And then I can come back in and kind of soften the curve. See how I soften the curve later? It's so much, this one I figured, I think, in the second lesson where I did this. I don't think I even had it figured out the first time. Yeah, that looks great, Leela. Looks great. This one comes up higher. This is higher. You
Is
have
mine
it down
too
about,
high? Is mine
yours is,
too
yours
low?
is too low. Yours is about here. Bring it
Okay.
up.
But won't that make the negative space a bit fat?
The negative space is a bit fat. Wait, that doesn't look right. No, you're right. You're in good shape. You're in good shape. That looks great. Yes, that looks good.
Unless it's my other lines that are
No, it's
a little
your,
bit too
yeah, I'm looking to
puppy
see.
outy.
It looks pretty,
The
honest-
handle feels too fat.
it feels like it doesn't angle enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like it doesn't angle enough. So maybe it comes down just a touch, a titch. But notice how wide this is. This is here, right? This is here. That's how kind of tall that handle is. So something's off. One, two, that's good. I'm looking to see what it is. Oh, this is out too far. Oh, two things.
Okay.
Two things. One, this needs to scoot a little bit to the left for you. Okay. And then you went like this and then over. See how that widens? This is a straight line. It's a straight shot
Okay.
from there to there. That's the difference.
Okay.
And don't feel bad. And actually, this comes up higher. This line right here. This line's good, but this line you have about down here. See how that's also shortening your cup? See that how that's kind of fattening that space? So this comes up higher. It comes up to about halfway between here and here. This distance. Those two things will be able to help you angle. And that's pretty Bon V. Bring almost Bon V. Just bring up this a touch higher. You have it down here, bring it up just a touch higher, and then they line up, right? They line up on either side. They kind of curve. Yours is a little bit slanted. Ah, I like that, Christina. Yeah. Yep. Looking good. So now you can soften those. And then, of course, we draw the second set of lines. Right? So the second set of lines kind of comes out like this, angles like that, straight like this, and then down like that. Now I might have to adjust this, right? A little bit this way, but that's a much more kind of accurate way of getting, so this is using negative space, which is like super helpful. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to print out one more copy of this cup so that you can see it without all the marks, so that we can add the shading in. And we have half an hour, so this is great. Very great lesson today, you guys. I'm very happy with your taking on this lesson. I know it's a pain, but I love the fact that we're going to end. We're going to do one more lesson next week, kind of in this same regard. And then I want you to join the other, I want you to fold in with the other classes. I want you to join us. It's funny, I took this lesson, I took this cup, this photo of this cup, so I would have something for watercolor, because watercolor always starts with white subjects. And then I realized, oh, this is a good lesson for everything. Let's see, print. Where are we at? Come on. I'll get you one where you can see. And then we'll talk very briefly about this open cylinder, which we drew last time. Christina, that looks great. So now, of course, you're going to add in your inside lines here, right? You're gonna smooth everything out. Erase, smooth everything out. Yeah. I'm getting rid of some of these extra lines. I don't really need anymore. And then we're gonna come back to this. You remember, oh, wait, just dropped it. Do you remember this exercise? Which we did. Remember this exercise?
Ah, yes.
This is exactly the same.
Mhm.
It's how the light hits the cup. Here, hold on, I'll show you in a second. I'm just printing it out. Not getting black and white. One second and I'll show you where we're going with this. But if you remember correctly, if the light is coming from this side in an open cylinder, it's lighter on the outside of the cup and on the top of the cup, and it's lighter on the opposite side of the inside of the cup. Why is that? Because the light's bouncing in here and it's bouncing off here. So these shadows actually switch directions depending on whether you're inside the cup or outside the cup. Leela, beautiful. Bring this up. Okay, almost perfect. Bring this up a tiny bit. So you're here. Here, hold on. Like this, right? Bring it up. So
Okay.
you have this tiny little, it's fatter towards here. It's hard to see here because I've covered it up. So hold on. I'm going to get you a new thing so you can. Right? It's actually fatter here. And you can see this. There's enough room for that dark. And it's like that, right? This dark and light divides on either side. You need room for this guy, a little bit of light here and a little bit of light down here. And look at what this is doing. Here, hold on, let me pop off of here. You guys are doing great, by the way. Love it. Here, hold on. See? What I did for you. I set up a little still life, which shows exactly what direction the light is coming from. In here, the light's a little bit more angled directly. It's kind of more exact, coming like this. Right? But you can see because the shadow is going this way, the cast shadow is going this way. Here, right? Here's where the darks and the lights are. So as you're, this is exactly the same. So I'm going to send over a picture of this to remind you, but also light is here, light is here. Light is up here, light is on the side here. It's dark anywhere that an object is blocking the light, like this handle. The cup itself is blocking the light here. And as it gets, it's kind of a medium dark as it turns away from the light. Yeah. I think you can get that. And give me 1 second. I'm going to turn this off for just a second. I'm going to turn this off so I can photograph it. I'm going to send you this to remind you. No. WhatsApp. I'm going to remind you of this exercise, which we did back in lesson 1, to remind you of how light hits an object like this. Everything looks pretty good by everybody, by the way. So I'd say just keep on going. Okay. It's tedious in a way, but it kind of takes the guesswork out. And that's actually what I love about it. I just don't, none of us using the negative space here is a really fantastic trick for drawing everything. If you take figure drawing classes with me, which I teach quite a lot, I can take beginners and talk about this, that a lot of times when we're sketching something that's extending out from the rest of the object, the subject, that it's way easier to get this shape than it is to get the outer shape. Right? And if you can get this shape, then you can kind of, it helps you kind of place this shape. Leah, are you doing this lesson again, or are you working on your?
Working on the flower. I have to log off a bit before 10, so was wondering if I could send you progress.
Please, please.
So I send it
Actually,
to
I'm going to spotlight you for a second, and I want you to hold it up.
Oh, okay.
Do it. Don't
It-
feel shy.
It's kind of streaky. Oh wait, let me
Yeah. Turn off your.
unblur. Okay.
Oh, it's coming along very nicely. Yep.
Yeah,
Coming
I
along
like-
nice.
The
that's
green
beautiful.
glaze is awesome. I'm definitely need
Yeah. Look what the green glaze does. Isn't it great? It really helps.
yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Join us. Yeah, you're on the way. Just keep on
Okay.
going. It's looking good to me.
Cool.
Soft
Okay.
edges. We can nuance all this stuff, but in general,
Yeah.
I would get in, and if you have, do you have time to do any of the green stems?
Not
Or no?
right now, probably. but-
Okay. So what I would say is mix a little bit of red in whatever, and in whatever green you use, just a
Okay.
touch, and then mix some yellow in to lighten it. Don't try to lighten with white.
Light,
And then
okay.
you'll have this beautiful mossy green, and that's great. Leah's just showing you what you guys can do when you're in painting.
Beginning painting.
Beginning painting, beginning painting. It's great.
Okay. Thank you, Leah.
Yeah, Leah, have a great time in Rome.
Oh,
enjoy.
thank you.
Come back and tell us all the stories about Raphael and Leonardo
Yeah, I
and
know. Can't wait to
Michelangelo.
see all the great painters.
All the great painters, all existing at the same time.
Well, have a great week and see you later.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. Lucky Ducky, she's going to Rome for a week. So it is true that all of the Miss lessons are on this thread. You can just keep going up to find them. I'm also going to make all the lists available. I'm going to just make a little Word document with every lesson for each class in order, video links, so you can find them as well. And I'm going to make that available to anybody who wants them. So I'll be sending that out next week. So once it goes out on your emails, reach out to me and I will be able to send it to you, whatever lessons you want to catch up on. The new classes don't start until April 18th and the 25th, except for the beginning painting on Saturday and Lotto's class. Those will continue going all year round, with occasional breaks. But if you want all of that stuff, yeah. So if you want to, just jump into Saturday. Here's Diana. Hi, Diana.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. These guys are rock starring it today. This is probably the best lesson we've done on this subject.
Good.
Yes, it's wonderful. We've had a really good lesson. They're doing great. And now you can kind of cook, right? You cook with gas, as my grandfather used to say, cooking with gas. Because you know where everything is, you know where to put things, you know kind of where they lie, you know about values, you know about soft edges. You can kind of finish this cup in this way, which connects a lot of the lessons that we've learned during this first trimester. Bobby, I would say that this is too narrow. This is the top and this is the bottom. See that? So this is located pretty, you need to bring this down a little bit. You need to bring this much up higher. And this also, you've kind of missed the shape of this, right? So this is down too low. You brought this down to here. So bring this up. This one's in the right location. This needs to come up. And then you'll get the actual shape of what's happening here. It's really easy to underestimate the thickness and size of things. Also, look at where this, look at how far down it comes this here. It really is pretty close to the top, and yours comes all the way down here, which is why this looks weird. You have all this space here where there should be handle. And Bonvi, the other thing you missed. This handle ends here, which means this line is here. Do you see the mistake you made? So you basically placed this you placed this here.
So the outside of the handle has to be the original.
Exactly. That's why we put it there. That's a classic left brain rookie mistake, right? Right? You didn't use the measurements that you gave yourself so that this wouldn't happen. So go ahead and erase the handle and start over. I'm going to put this here. Nice, Leela. Beautiful. Love those rich darks. See how you've got that kind of nice thick handle? What you'll see is that this really is kind of, let me show you a couple angles that will help you kind of nuance that. That's really what's happening here. There's less of a dip because you need room for this shadow. But this is looking great. This is, oh, wait. Yeah. Wait, hold on. I want to double check something. Yeah, everything else looks pretty good to me. So see if you fix this, and it's okay to kind of struggle with this, not quite get it right.
Yeah, it is a bit of a struggle.
It's a little bit wonky. You're curving
Yeah.
where you need to go straighter, and you're
Okay.
straighter when you need to be curving. So if you can look at this, can you see both? Let me see, hold on.
Mhm.
Yeah, really look, I'm gonna come in close on this one so you can really see it. Look at the shapes, right?
I see. That's actually a straight line at the end.
Kind of, yeah.
trying to
So
curve,
you did
yeah.
it, you put it here where it doesn't really exist, but it's kind
Yeah.
of more. Yeah,
I see.
so that's okay. That's okay.
I
That's
see. That
easy.
it makes more sense. Yeah, that makes
It
more
does,
sense.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, visually, it makes more sense.
Yes, yeah.
And what happens is we get confused, right? So we start, I think what's happened is in the absolute correct way, you have been sort of not trusting your eye, right? So you're like, wait,
Yeah.
I'm going to be working on my measurements. And then like, it's hard to kind of see these nuances of things happening. I sketched this in for you where it really doesn't exist here, right? So it's a little, Anyway, it's tough. It's a challenge. These are little tiny things, shifts in plane. And as a beginning drawer, I do not expect anybody to see them easily. But I'm glad that makes sense to you because that will get the shape that you're looking for. It's so interesting. It's interesting how few, how little tiny shifts make such a huge difference.
But you know, it's because I wasn't trusting my measurements either. I
Right.
moved. I yeah,
You moved a couple things,
I
right?
moved. I moved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Bonvi did. And like, right? Like you don't trust where things are supposed to be. You think they're bigger or smaller. So what's really interesting about this, and it's a great observation to make in the process, is that your left brain is way more well developed than your right brain. So your left brain is going to try and take over. But it's a little bit like somebody trying to guide you in driving from the back seat. It's like a backseat driver, right? Not super helpful. The way the left brain evaluates things is completely not helpful to how the right brain evaluates things. And that's what happens when you get tired, your left brain starts kind of edging in. What you'll find after a while is that this is beautifully simple. I mean, it's not simple, but it's a process that if you follow it will give you the result that you need. And so when you have more practice with it and also we're towards the end of the lesson, so we're tired, it's the evening for you, so you're more tired, right? Like all of these things are happening that kind of impact how this works for you. And sometimes you're better at it and sometimes one is better at it and sometimes one is worse at it. So it's good to catch yourself. Yeah, we fight things that we shouldn't be fighting. And until you realize that measurement is king and they're there for a reason. And Bonvi, you get the biggest excuse because it's the latest for you. Let's see.
I'm gonna make that a lot
Better,
Yeah.
but also you're missing it's because I put lines here. This is what's happening down here, right? It's down here. So you cut yours in too narrow here. Can you see that?
Is that it's much closer to the end of the
Yeah, it's right much closer to the end of the cup and it's up a little bit higher. It's quite thick here. From here to here. Look at that. Quite thick. Also, you've missed this. You have this right, but really you've missed this section, that shape. See that? You have the top, but you missed that there's a little angle curve, like a triangle with a curved line right here. So you need to add that in down here. You stopped your handle here, and it really comes down there. It comes much closer to the center. If you look at this line, your halfway point, it tells you where everything is supposed to be on this side. Ah, nice, Christina. Beautiful. Don't forget your thin little, there's a little top here. See that?
Oh,
Yeah. And it's slightly, and then it gets a little darker here, and it kind of disappears here.
yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead and get that in. But nice, very nice. Also, don't forget that there's a transition from light to medium to dark.
Mhm.
This is like a 1, this is a 2, this is a 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just because we're not focusing on that this time, we're focusing so hard on shape, don't forget that. But beautiful shaping of your cup, lovely. got about 10 minutes left. If anybody wants to stay, of course, you're always welcome to stay. I got to jet off to my next class, which is at another location in Portland. But if anybody wants to stay, Laura should be here any minute. I'll be right back. Yeah, like the kids, we need to let ourselves get tired and move back into primitive shapes and forms. We need to let ourselves. We get tired. It's a practice. This whole thing is a practice. We went through this strenuous activity when we were learning to read and write. We've just forgotten how hard it was. The good news about working this hard with your brain is that it has all your cylinders firing at the same time. Now, reading and writing for you is easy. Your brain has created shortcuts and you are not using your whole brain, which basically means at the moment you start getting good at, you master something, your brain begins to deteriorate. It is an absolute truth. That's why they say, learn a language when you're older, learn mind puzzles. And this is a great, drawing is a great way to keep your brain kind of all active, because your brain only is fully active when, and that's why you're so tired now, when you're using it fully to try and learn something. Yes, the moment we get good at things, that's when atrophy happens. We're like, finally, it's easy. Oh my God.
Yeah.
They've done amazing work with dementia. I mean, there's a certain kind of, even if you don't get dementia older, there's a certain kind of forgetting that starts to happen. I am 57. I can totally, I walk into a room and totally forget why I was there. I can have my phone in my hand and forget where I put it. Like, it's really crazy. Your brain needs exercise.
Hi, Leah. I
Hi,
hope you
Lotto
remember
Joe.
me.
I do. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I'm good.
Hold on, hold on. Where are you? Where are you?
Can you see me?
Yes, now I can see you. Hello. These guys are kicking ass and taking names. I've told them that they should just jump into your class.
Yeah. I have a perfect memory, like a arrow right in the middle of the target. But after
You
COVID,
do.
but after
You do. It's
COVID,
unusual.
after COVID, I start, forgetting sometimes things.
I can actually attest to this. Lotto remembers everything he reads. He's an what do you call that when you can remember everything you read? There's a actual, it's unusual.
No,
You
I'm
remember-
just interested in what I read and I remember what I'm interested in.
You
But
remember
I'm
what
telling
you're
you,
interested in.
after COVID, I remember I start forgetting things. I need to dig deep into my memory to bring the
Remember
writer's
the
name.
things.
Now it's okay. Now it's getting better. But I had this seriously. I was like, what's going on? What's his name? What's his name? What's his name? The guy who wrote the Patagonia song.
Right. Oh, shit.
Bruce Chatwin. Okay, got it.
Bruce Chatwin, right?
Yeah.
Right, got
So
it.
I couldn't bring Bruce Chatwin. I mean, it's a crazy.
Also, Bruce Chatwin was kind of crazy, but dynamic in the great book. But he was kind of
Absolutely crazy. Yeah, absolutely crazy.
Absolutely
guy.
crazy.
I mean,
Oh my God, I haven't thought of that book in a really long time.
which one? In Patagonia or Songlines?
The Patagonia. But I mean, he was such a good writer.
Yeah.
It's too bad he made shit up all the time.
When Bruce Chatwin died, and it was a funeral for him, Salman Rushdie there under the fatwa from Ayatollah Khomeini, and Paul Theroux comes to him. You know the writer, travel writer, Paul Theroux.
Yes, Paul Theroux.
Said, oh, Salman, you could be next. Lying in a
He's so rude.
Yeah, he writes about this in the memoirs. Salman
Poor
Rushdie.
Salman Rushdie, he really has gone through it.
Yeah.
The
Anyway,
fuckers did get him. Good to see you, Lotto.
No, absolutely good to see you. I'm ready for class. I'm so happy to be here. It's amazing how fast week goes, after class.
Really?
It's just like we just had a class just a couple days. No, it's actually 7 days.
It's a
Totally crazy.
long time ago, Lotto.
For you? Oh, maybe time works differently for you.
She's stuck. She has a broken ankle.
I know.
It sucks. Let's see.
I wonder if the time goes differently if you have different circumstances. Like how time goes, say, for successful businessmen flying all over the world making millions, or for inmates, cell, just sitting there waiting for. Probably different,
These look great, by the way. Oh, nice, Leela. Nice. Good job, Christina. Good job, Leela. Bonnie, much, much better.
Christina is
Ronnie, wonderful. Great job, you guys. It doesn't really show it here, but the last thing I'm going to say before we leave is that, and I'm going to pop this up really quickly to show you, is, hold on a second. Let me, you can't really see it in this photograph, but if you remember, it is there. There is a kind of right before, in the darkest area, there's a little light edge. It's like a 2, right in the darkest area of a curved object. Right before it turns around, there's a little reflected edge. What that is light bouncing from another source onto the edge of the object. So if you want to, you can add that, Christine, you can take your little eraser and add that in. But it's more about drawing on this one and measuring than anything else.
Yeah, no, I remember that now.
You got it. It's okay. It's a lot to remember. Honestly, this is we've had such an interesting conversation about the thinking system. And actually, let me stop recording.